Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome to the final episode of season 2. I'm still just as confused as what I was at the start of the season. I feel like season 2, because it's so short, is more like a bridge between season 1 and season 3. Like, it's bringing up points that are going to be further explained because I don't feel like I have any answers to any of the questions I have so far. Other than the fact that Reiner and Bertold are the Armored Titan and the Colossal Titan. And again, there's the indication that they're not necessarily doing this because they want to, which is also something I talked about in episode 10 of season 2, was that it could be to do with socialization, being raised to hate humanity, but not necessarily wanting to actually go ahead and kill people, because that's a hard thing to reconcile yourself with, and that's obviously something they are struggling with. I'm just so very nervous about how this episode is going to go, and now that that Titan that killed Erin's mom showed up, I think that's how Hannes is dying. I think that's the Titan that's going to kill Hannes, because it would make complete sense that he would bolster his courage to take down the Titan that is attacking Mikasa and Eren, but also lose his life in the process. And it's the same Titan that he ran from in episode 1, season 1. So I think this is the catalyst for Han's act of courage, but I also think this is the end of his journey as a character. The way that they keep bringing him back in, the way that they keep showing his character progression, how much he's changed since that interaction with the Titan and rescuing Mikasa and Eren, I think his journey, his character arc has come to an end. I think they're going to have his death mean something. He is going to die saving the two people that he saved at the beginning of season 1, who he has constantly looked out for, who he has constantly cared about. And I'm going to cry, and it's going to break me, but that's my prediction, is that bringing this Titan back in is also going to be the moment that we see Hannes die, because story-wise, don't see keeping him in long term to have any benefit to the plot. But this moment of sacrifice is going to hit Eren hard, because that's somebody he has known since he was a child, that has essentially acted as like a father figure in a way. Not necessarily been a father, but has acted like a father to Eren. He's been there to support him. He has looked out for him. He has a very clear emotional connection to all three children, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin. So I think witnessing the death of someone who is almost a parental figure is going to have a profound and significant impact on these characters going forward. It's almost the end of their innocence in a way. And I know that might seem silly in a way, because they have killed titans. They are doing things way beyond what normal children do. So in a way, they have already lost that innocence, because it won't be the first death that they've seen. But I think in terms of this is somebody they have known since they were children, that's what I mean by their loss of innocence. It's the end of childhood, because the one surviving figure of their childhood who has acted like a parent is gone. I think then we're going to see a further shift in their behavior. I think it's just meant to symbolize this concept of your childhood is gone. This is it now. The future is what you fight for. You cannot hold on to the past. You cannot be sentimental and nostalgic for the past. You have to go on, you have to move on, and you have to fight for the future of humanity, and you have to fight for the future for yourself. I also forgot to mention in episode 11, and I'm kind of mad that I forgot to mention it, about Jean and Jean rescuing Mikasa. My heart, I know that people probably ship Eren and Mikasa, but I think I'm a Jean and Mikasa shipper. I get why she's so passionate for Eren and why she wants to be around Eren and why she loves Eren. But I think the way that Jean treats Mikasa, treats her with such loyalty, respect, kindness. He went above and beyond to risk his own life to protect her. He always sees the best in her, and he always wants to encourage the best in her, but he's also not afraid to call her out out when he thinks that it puts others in jeopardy. I just think we all need a Jean, and I think Mikasa and Jean would be such a good relationship dynamic. Maybe I'm alone in this. I just think that they would be good together. I don't think I'd be mad if Eren and Mikasa have a romantic relationship, but I think Mikasa and Jean would be really good together. Maybe that's just me, but I'm gonna get into episode 12. Really scared to hit this button because I don't know what's gonna happen in this episode other than what I theorized I think is going to happen. But, oh, and then it's gonna end, and I'm gonna have so many questions as well, but at least I don't have to wait, I can just watch season 3, but I'm gonna have so many questions, aren't I? Still, and no answers. If you like these types of reacts, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. It really does mean a lot, and it really helps me out as a creator. You might as well hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification to receive notifications for all videos going live, because if you're already watching the videos, what's the point of not subscribing? And I would appreciate it very much. So please consider doing so if you want to see more anime reactions to Attack on Titan and Death Note, and also future animes that are coming out after these series are done, such as Frieren. We're also going to do Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which I'm really excited about. I also want to watch Code Geass and Cowboy Bebop. And if there's any anime that you would like to see me react to in the future, please leave it in the comments below. I am accumulating a list, which is really long at the moment, of animes that keep coming up, just to kind of keep an eye on what seems to be the more asked for choice, just so I can make sure that the content is something that everybody on this channel wants to see. But without further ado, let's get into the season finale of season 2 of Attack on Titan.
エレン、あんたは男だろ。たまにはこらえてミカサを守ってみせな。やめろ
！Oh god. I knew that Titan was gonna have to come back at some point, but still. Erwin, you absolute madman. You've lost your arm and you're still going. She's going after Erwin? Emiya. Wait, she's not. He's tied a tourniquet as well. Damn. Oh, Eren, sweet baby. Oh, I know. I knew it was gonna happen, that Hannes would appear. No. She's doing what works best for her.
今この状況を生き延びることができたとしても、もうじきこの壁の中が地獄になっちまうのは避けようがない。ヒストリアをあっち側に送れるのは今しかねえのに。
But why?
私の力じゃ守りきれるとは思えねえ。
I don't get why.
クリスタ、コニー、違うよ。 私の名前はヒストリアっていうの。あなたが私を連れて行こうとする理由だけど、自分が助かりたいからっていうのは嘘なの。
There's another reason. There has to
嘘
be.
なんでしょ。
She's gonna give Ymir a chance to show her something,
また私は守られる
or
の。
to allow Historia to live a life outside of
ユミル、
the walls,
あ
to
なたが
be
私に言った通り、
to reach her true
私たちはもう
potentiality.
人のために生きるのはやめよう。あなたといればどんな世界でも怖くないや。
Oh God.
ダメだミカサ、そんな怪我じゃ。俺の腕をほどいてくれ。早く、俺がやんなくちゃなんねんだ。あいつは俺が。
Oh, Mikasa. Those flowers again. What do those flowers mean? Is it like nostalgia, memory? He's not going to be able to do it. Why, though? He has a goal.
団長、鎧が来ます。
What is happening?
大丈夫か。
Why doesn't he care what happens to his friends? Oh God, Eren. I don't understand how any of this is going to get pulled back. Fuck, I knew it.
今、巨人になんなきゃ。意味ねえだろ。
I knew it. How much can one poor boy take?
俺は何もできないままだったよ。
エレン、そんなことないよ。 エレン、聞いて。伝えたいことがある。私と一緒にいてくれてありがとう。私に生き方を教えてくれてありがとう。私にマフラーを巻いてくれてありがとう。
She was gonna kiss him.
そんなもん何度でも
Oh,
言われてやる。これからもずっと俺が何度でも。
what was that? He was able to control them. And it sparked something in Reiner and Bertold.
あいつが食べられてるの。そういうことか。だからライナーたちは必死こいてエレンを。だとすりゃこの壁の中に
He can control the Titans.
未来がある。
最悪だ。よりによって座標が最悪の奴の手に渡っちまった。絶対に取り返さねえと。間違いねえ。断言できる。この世で一番それを持っちゃいけねえのはエレン、お前だ。来るんじゃねえ。
The power
ぶっ殺してやる。
fell into him. Who they didn't want him to have
マ
it.
ジベルトルト。なんだ巨人が。
They're listening to him.
乗ってアルミン。
So that's what it means to be a coordinate.
この気を逃すな。撤退せよ。おいブス、何やってんだ。早く帰るぞ。
I have tears all down my chest. I hate this episode. Oh my god.
その時ユミルが取った行動の意味は分からなかったけど、鎧の巨人がそれ以上追ってくることはなかった。
I need a minute. Oh my god. Like full on tear streaks. Why have I worn makeup? I like it all down my chest. I don't think you can see it on camera, but I've like, oh, you can just about see it. There's like tear streaks through my makeup from where I've cried at this episode because holy, even though I knew it was going to happen, I knew Hannes was going to die because it just made sense in terms of the story arc. His character arc had come to an end and it was used as a way to show Eren his hidden abilities, but also the end of his childhood officially. Even though he has been like acting like an adult, this kind of is the end of his childhood in a literal sense. The last parental figure that he had in his life is gone. But in doing so, the catalyst of that is Eren discovering that he has abilities that can control the Titans. But there was also that spark as well within Bertold and Reiner, which means are they also subjected to this ability? Are they ones that could be controlled, or do they just feel that order, that connection, but because of who they are, they can resist it in a way that like the other Titans can't. But oh my goodness, that was just I genuinely thought Mikasa and Eren were gonna kiss in that moment just because they thought that was it, that was the end. So I thought, oh, they're gonna have like a sentimental moment. But his reassertion that he will always protect her, he will always be there to wrap the scarf around her, to shield her, to defend her, to do whatever he can to protect her in the same way that she does for him. It was what we needed to see from Eren because we have seen him be quite harsh with Mikasa through season 1 and season 2. So it's definitely what we needed to see. Just that on top of everything else happening in the episode just made things like 10 times more emotional. Didn't expect to cry as hard as I did. Through extensive research and accounts of various incidents, it's become clear that the scourge of titans which have long plagued humanity are of human origin. The colossal titan which destroyed the wall at Shingashina district, I'm probably butchering that, but that's okay, is a human possessing the ability to transform into a titan, demonstrated by its intent to breach the wall with the purpose to exterminate humans. Titans are not sent by the heavens to punish us for our sins, but invaders that must be driven back. Thus we swear by the blood our brothers and comrades have spilled, waging war against this foe, we shall not relent our land nor yield the fight. Yeah, it does read like warring factions. This is why I'm leaning into, is it colonialism and genocide that have like led to the Titan shifters fighting against humanity? Have humanity committed it against them, or are they committing it currently against humanity? This didn't play out the way I thought it would. I didn't think Eren would get brought back.
なんで俺たちのところに来た？
ああ、そりゃ私がバカだからだな。里帰りの土産になってやってんだよ。お前らがこの壁を壊しに来なければ、私はずっと覚めない夢を見てたんだ。私はただ
Repaying the
その
favor.
時借りたものを返してるだけだよ。お前たちの境遇を知ってるのは
Okay,
私だけだしな。
so when she ate Marcel, did she gain his ability to
Arigato.
shift to and from? Like she was condemned into the body of the Titan,
いや、
but Marcel gave her the ability to shift back.
女神様もそんなに悪い気分じゃないね。
So Ymir is a goddess. Is this the goddess that they worship?
ハンジだ。入れ。
失礼するよ、エルヴィン。いらしてたのですね、ピクシー司令。ちょうどよかったです。
Owen looks good with a beard.
104機調査兵団コニー・スプリンガーです。
コニーはラガコ村の出身です。実は村での調査結果を彼に確認してもらったところ、あの仮説の信憑性が増すばかりでして、その報告に。
It's his mom, isn't it?
俺がまたさらわれて、そのために調査兵団は熟練兵士の大半を失っちまった。
Eren, it's not your fault.
取り戻すために。
Poor boy blames himself.
でも帰りには損害がなかった。巨人が僕らを無視してライナーたちに向かい続けていったからだ。あの時巨人たちにそうさせたのは
Eren.
エレンじゃないの。
だがそうでも言わなきゃあの状況は説明できねえ。死んだ人たちを生かすか殺すかはお前次第なんじゃねえのか。
やるしかねえ。巨人を操ってやる。ウォールマリアも塞ぐ。ライナーのやつを捕まえて償わせる。それが俺のなすべき償いだ。
I really didn't expect Eren to be brought back.
中村の住人。
What?
巨人の正体は人間であると。
But why?
じゃあ何か。俺は今まで必死こいて人を殺して飛び回ってたってのか。
確証はないと言っただろう。
So the Titans are all people.
エルビー。お前何を。
He's like, I have an idea. Or it proves something.
なんでもないさ。
He's had a realization of some
我
sort.
々はまた一歩真実に近づいたというわけだ。
He always
踏み台にした
finds
巨人と人間の
the
数に
positive in everything.
割に合わないな。
だが確実な一歩だ。我々はいずれ必ず突き破る。真実を隠している壁を。
まだかな。
Excuse me? What? What? Not yet. What does he mean by not yet? I'm so confused. I thought I would have more ideas going into season 3, what I thought was going to happen, and I really don't. I think I'm just more lost than I was previously, which is saying something. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Holy hell, that was such like an emotional episode that just completely emotionally destroyed me, but I'm very lost. I'm very lost. I feel like this outro is going to be incredibly rambly because I'm not going to rewatch season 2. I'm making the executive decision that if it's not immediately come to me, I'm not going to rewatch the entire season before season 3. I also just unfortunately do not have the same time that I did when I finished season 1. But yeah, what I thought was going to happen with Hannes played out. I suspected from Hannes's reintroduction, I think it was in episode 6 of season 2, I went, he's gonna die this season. And I outlined the reasons why I thought he was gonna die. I was hoping that he would have maybe some success, and he held his own, but I think it was just to show that regardless of his prowess and his strength, there was nothing he could have done. And it goes to symbolize as well that, like, back in episode 1, again, there was nothing he could have done. And if he had chosen to fight that Titan at the time, Mikasa and Eren also would have died. So he made the right choice in running, even if when we first watched that episode, we're quite angry at him because he just leaves their mom. But this just reiterates the point that he had to make a choice, and the choice he made was one that he could live with, and that was prioritizing the rescue of Mikasa and Eren over his mother, and that led to his mother dying. But again, that was also her wish. She knew that she wasn't going to live, she knew she wasn't going to survive, and she decided to sacrifice herself if it meant that her son and Mikasa could live. And again, it's a symbolic message that Eren's childhood is over. That his childhood, in a literal sense, has been obliterated and gone. All he has left is Mikasa. But because of the similar age, that parental figure, there is no parental figure per se. So when I say it means his childhood is ended, it's not as if I'm wiping away all the trauma he's experienced or everything he's gone through. It's more just to reiterate the very literal point that every parental figure that he has had in his life is now dead and gone. And that reasserts to him that there's no going back. He has to focus on the future. He has to focus on securing a future for himself, for Mikasa, for his friends, for everyone around him. But I feel so incredibly sorry for Eren. Just the amount of trauma this poor boy has been put through throughout season 1 and now season 2 is just insane. And you can see that moment of break in him where he's like, it doesn't matter, nothing matters. And it's Mikasa that pulls him out of that. And you can see the purple flowers around them. And it links back to season 1, episode 1, when they're in the field of flowers. And it's making me think that the flowers are symbolic of their relationship. It's perhaps a symbol of budding love or budding romance. It could be a symbol of their connection and attachment to each other. It just seems to be those flowers are a reoccurring symbol whenever it comes to Eren and Mikasa. So it's, I guess, meant to symbolize their relationship dynamic. It's meant to symbolize budding romance. It's meant to symbolize loyalty, probably also connection. So, like, it's really hard to kind of figure out what flowers they are, especially from looking at them. I have been weirdly going through flowers just to try and find what I think it could be because flowers are really interesting. Every flower seems to have a symbolic meaning. There's a language to flowers, and there's books dating back to the Victorian era. The color of a flower and the type of flower all have a connection. They all symbolize something. So I've been really hell bent on trying to figure out what these flowers are because it's kind of difficult to distinguish them in drawing, but they obviously have a meaning to Eren and Mikasa. And I think I have come to a conclusion that they are supposed to be Japanese irises. It's kind of hard to tell in drawings, but they do kind of look identical. If they are Japanese irises or Hanasobu, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering it. I do apologize. They do have a symbolic meaning because, again, flowers have meaning and they keep cropping up. And I know this seems really silly to like focus on it because it's not that important to where the story is going, but I think it's a really good symbolic metaphor for Eren and Mikasa's relationship, but also Eren and what they mean to Eren. So they represent hope and faith, and that is essentially Eren's driving factors in life is the hope for a better future, the faith that things will get better. Having that moment of break where he's like, nothing's going to change. I'm useless. He loses faith in that moment, but Mikasa reasserts it in him. She reminds him of everything that he has done for her, how he's gone above and beyond for her. And I think that's a great way of showing their relationship dynamic. Their relationship dynamic is very much built on hope and faith for a better future, for peace, to be together. And I guess Mikasa's hope as well that she can remain by Eren's side because that's all she wants in life is to be by his side. No matter where he is, she wishes to be there too. And I think it's just a really beautiful imagery as to the relationship dynamic, but also the themes of the show, which is faith and hope for better things to come and for freedom and for establishing oneself beyond the grasp of the Titans. And the outside of the Japanese cultural meaning as well, blue irises can symbolize deep trust, which is their relationship dynamic, which is Mikasa and Eren's relationship dynamic. And it's apparently a gift that you give to a long-term partner to symbolize your faith in them, your trust in them, and usually it's seen as a good gift to reassert your loyalty. Having that moment where Mikasa is bigging Eren up, she is helping him find his feet again, despite what they've just witnessed, despite everything. She is building him back up from the trauma, from being knocked down repeatedly. And she's doing it with those flowers in the background, and I thought it was just a really beautiful symbolic metaphor as to the relationship. So I had to talk about it, even though like it doesn't really have that much use to the story as a whole. I just think it's a really lovely way of displaying their relationship, that there's a symbolic meaning behind it. This episode really did not answer any questions for me. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really just as confused, but I think it also just hit me as well. So I believe it was in episode 4 of season 2. There's the two little titans that are like pulling at each other and they're like fighting, and I made the comment of, oh my god, they're acting like children. And we've just kind of had it confirmed, not fully confirmed, because Hanji said they're still investigating, but the Titans responsible for this incident were the citizens of Connie's village. And now I'm like, were those two little titans that were fighting one another that reminded me of children? Were they Connie's siblings? Because he had two siblings. He had a brother and a sister. And now I'm like, holy shit. Could that have been his siblings? But the bigger question that seems to come to mind is, did they always have the ability to be able to do this? Because then surely Connie should also have this ability. But if Connie doesn't have this ability, then it raises the question of, could potentially they have been infected by something that the Beast Titan has created that has turned them into these Titans, and they're unable to control themselves because they have no means of controlling their urges. So now I'm like, is that how they have turned into Titans? And then the sad thing is the fact that everybody that he potentially killed that is a Titan is also a human. I guess I can see where Levi's horror is coming from, is that we've been killing people, but also not just people, we've been killing children, because it seems as if the children are not exempt from this. Because if they were, we would have seen Connie's siblings, or we would have seen other children in the village, even ones hiding. So it kind of raises the question of like, how is this happening? How are they able to have that ability? And is this ability something you're born with, or is this ability something that can be forced onto you? Because we know Eren wasn't born with this ability. Now I'm like, is this like a biochemical weapon that's being used on people? Is this the Beast Titan experimenting and investigating by using these biochemical weapons as a way to get one up on humanity? There seems to be a huge difference between the Titans that we see that are shifters and the Titans that we see that originate from humans. They've been forced into it. It's kind of like a transformation that they have no control over, and doesn't seem like an ability that they can shift back from, because as we know from Ymir says that she gained the ability to shift back from eating Marcel. Marcel had that ability, which I'm presuming possibly had from birth, or had that ability from a young age, in that he was able to learn and hone that skill, whereas Ymir didn't. But when Ymir was killed, the punishment was essentially her forced and confined into the body of a Titan. So it's like, could that potentially happen to everybody, or is it like a specific set of people, or is it, you see what I mean by like, I'm not 100% sure. It does seem like everyone has the potential to become a Titan, but not everybody has the potential to be a Titan shifter. So Ymir, we know, was executed. She turned and she was trapped in that body for 60 years. But it makes sense as to why her body was more Titan like. I'd made the comment before that like her Titan form is more what we expect from Titans, and it looks nothing like the Colossal, the Armored, or the female Titan, or Eren's Titan. It just looks more like a normal Titan, but she gained the ability to shift back from eating Marcel. So then it's like, okay, she's gained that ability and that power from eating somebody else. So then it's like, if everybody dies in that way, or is there a specific way to trigger it? Because obviously, if you just died and became a Titan, then the whole city would just be rampage. But it seems to be there's a way to trigger it. There's a way to force somebody to inhabit a Titan body, because again, Ymir was forced into it when she was executed. The woman beside her was forced into it and also trapped in that body and wasn't able to return. And we know that Ymir was in that body for 60 years. So it's like, my biggest question is how? I'm not sure how people are becoming Titans. I keep leaning into like biochemical warfare, but again, that wouldn't be easy to do. That's not something that would go unnoticed. Is the basement still to do with biochemical weapons? Really not entirely sure what they're getting at. We have that moment where Reiner says, Why did the coordinate have to fall into the hands of the worst person imaginable? We have to get it back. I can say without a doubt, the one person in the world I wouldn't want to have it, Eren, is you. Which makes sense as to why they were so intent on returning Eren to their hometown, but also capturing Eren, because he has the coordinate, which I'm presuming is the abilities that he possesses, because that was mentioned after he learned that he could control the Titans to attack on command, that they would follow his will. If you look into the different meanings of the word coordinate, two of them kind of stand out to me. And the first one being is bring the different elements of a complex activity or organization into a harmonious or efficient relationship. And the second one is form a coordinate bond to an atom or molecule. And the reason why the chemistry definition kind of strikes me is because of the way that when he screamed, it triggered flashes in Raina, Emir, and Bertold, as if they were ingrained to respond to it, as if it has an ability to control and overwhelm, that it was almost like a molecular reaction that they had to Eren's command, to Eren's order. And it wasn't just the Titans that responded. Reiner, Bertold, and Emir, yes, they didn't follow the order, but they felt that spark, that recognition of what it was. It shocked them. It was almost as if they could be susceptible to that control, but because they're shifters, they still have that ability to resist. So it seems as if Eren has been given the abilities of the coordinate, but that means his father, Grisha, had those abilities and gave it to Eren. He says the one person in the world I wouldn't want to have it, Eren, is you. But I'm presuming that's because Eren is hell bent on destroying Titans and refusing to cooperate alongside them. And that's why he doesn't want Eren to have it, because it could be used against them. It could be turned against them. It's a weapon that could be the downfall for him and his town, his people. I thought when coordinate was first brought up, I thought they meant as in like he would be able to help find something that they were looking for. They are looking for something because again, when they're talking about Krista and her relation to the family of the church, we know that Krista knows more about the walls than she's initially letting on. And that's why they kind of want her on side, because they said if Eren is not the coordinate, it would still be useful to have Krista, aka Historia, on side to help with their search. So if Eren's the coordinate, which we now know he has the abilities of the coordinate, which is a power that they do not want him to possess because he's now realized that he can use it against them, does that mean they want him to use it to control the Titans within the wall? Do they want him to take control of the Titans within the wall to end humanity once and for all? Or are they also curious for what's happening within the walls? There's a lot. There's a lot that's happened, and I feel like I don't have all the pieces right now, but just the basement is going to have to come back up. I think the basement is going to be linked to the Beast Titan somehow. It's going to be linked to Eren's abilities as the coordinate. The coordinate, I don't necessarily know how that's going to play out. He has the abilities. Reiner doesn't want him to have the abilities because he thinks he's the worst person to have it. If those abilities can be used to control the Titans, were they wanting to use Eren and his abilities to control the Titans within the wall to end humanity once and for all? Or is there something else? Because they said Historia could help them with their search, meaning they're looking for something of significance and importance. Could this be linked to Emir? Not the Emir that we know, that we see, but the figure of Emir as a goddess, as somebody that pre-existed our Emir in the show. Emir said something like, it was good to be a goddess for a while. It felt good to be a goddess for a while, or something along those lines. So we now know that Emir is a goddess. She has symbolism and significance to Titan shifters, and we know that the church that she was within was also worshipping this goddess figure and then were punished for doing so because I guess it was seen as heretical or it was maybe banned and they were executed as a result because they're worshipping a figure that they shouldn't be. So we also know that in the Wallist religion, they refer to the walls as goddesses and they refer to them as being symbols. So could they be offspring of Ymir? Could Ymir be sort of the founder of the religion, the founder of Titan shifters, or even the founder of the world as a whole, or the world as they know it? And these goddesses, Rose, Maria, Sina, are like disciples that have branched out and created and established their own faction, their own kingdoms. But I don't know how that fits into the broader scheme of things, but I just found it interesting that goddesses keep coming up. So obviously there was a religion and a religious faction that pre-existed that was condemned, leading to Ymir being executed for her role as playing the goddess and the blood of the king. And that keeps coming up. And I'm like, who is the blood of the king? We also have at the very end of this season 2, we see the Beast Titan up on the wall. And we now know that he's a shifter. Obviously, I predicted that he was a shifter from the get-go. He has the same pointed ears as Eren, but he also has the same colored eyes as Eren's mum, which is making me a little suspicious. Could there be a familial connection? We know it's not Grisha, but the glasses are the same as Grisha's. The eye color is the same as Eren's mother. The ears are the same as Eren's Titan, which is making me think there has to be like a familial connection somewhere between the Beast Titan and Eren's family. There has to be a link. There has to be a reason for these similarities. Could Grisha and his family have originally been from this village, this hometown that Reiner and Bertold are so desperate to get back to, but maybe have come into conflict with the Beast Titan and his way of doing things, that they have left to seek sanctuary within the walls as a form of protection? Did they not like the way that things were being done? Were they against the idea of the Beast Titan using child soldiers to attack humanity? Did they fear for their son? And that's why they fled? Did their concern for Eren's safety come first and foremost, and they decided to leave because they didn't like how things were being done, how things were being run, and they could see that things were going bad and that war was coming, so they thought they would have a better chance of raising Eren in safety if they went to the walls and they lived within the walls. It would make more sense then as to why Grisha injected Eren. Maybe it's because he felt like there was no other option, especially after what just happened to his wife. That would symbolize to him, if they had come from this town to hide within the walls for safety, then that would symbolize to him, war is coming and I need to provide my son with as much protection as possible. And that would then give reason as to why he injected Eren with the abilities that he has, because he wants Eren to be able to protect humanity and he wants Eren to become a weapon for humanity's sake. That's making me think that Grisha must have a connection with this town that they're all from, and is at odds with the way that they're running things, is at odds with what they want to do, and is maybe using Eren as a way to try and protect humanity, is maybe trying to use him as a weapon to give humanity an edge in the war that's coming with the Titans. Maybe Grisha was involved early on with creating these Titan weapons. Who knows? Again, my biggest question is just how do these humans become Titans? Because it almost seems like a zombie kind of situation. Like, you die and then you come back. Or the way that Ymir says, we were hated from birth. We were mistreated from birth. Bertold also says, do you think we want to do this? Do you think we want to kill people? And given the indication that they're being forced into this, that this isn't something they have chosen. I talked at the end of episode 10 about socialization and ethno-nationalism. and how I thought that Reiner, Bertold, and Annie were raised to hate humanity based on the opinions and perspective of the adults in their community. And that has influenced their behavior towards humanity. But obviously, the further interaction they have with humans, the more they begin to sympathize and the more they begin to find a kindredship with them, they're more similar than they initially thought. And that's leading me to think that just as the children within the walls are being raised to hate titans and titan shifters, we also have these titan shifters that are being raised to hate humans. And could it be that we have warring kingdoms that are raising children to hate one another in order to bolster their armies for personal vengeance, personal gain? And the king is involved in it within the human territory, and the beast titan is involved in it in whatever hometown they're from, because he seems to have significance. And the significance is that Emir said to Reiner and Bertold, you looked at him with starry eyes. So this is somebody of high importance in their hometown. This is somebody that they highly regard. And it also looked like at the end as if he was waiting for them, but they didn't arrive because they were on that wall at night, and then at daytime they weren't there, but the beast titan was, and he was saying not yet, as if like they haven't arrived yet. And we know that the figure standing is also the beast titan because he's doing what we've seen Emir do to speak to Historia, comes out, leaves the body intact so that he can speak and it's easier to have a conversation. But it's kind of giving the impression that Reiner and Bertold and Emir maybe haven't gone over the wall and have maybe gone back because they haven't run into the Beast Titan and they're very close together. So when he's saying not yet, it almost implies that they haven't arrived, that he's waiting for them or he's expecting them and they haven't got there yet. But they were already there. So either they've already gone over the wall and headed off, but then they would have ran into him. So it's making me think that they've turned around and gone back. But then the question would be, why and how are they going to convince everyone not to kill them after everything they've done? And the biggest thing that seems to keep cropping up for me is that whenever Reiner, Bertold, and Annie are fighting, it is in self-defense. They're not aggressives. They're not the ones to initiate the conflict. They're not the ones to initiate the kill. They're protecting themselves from being killed. This isn't me rationalizing their actions, but this is what I mean by I don't believe that they are the baddies of the show. I think they are children that have been manipulated into hating humanity for a bigger purpose. I think they are beginning to come to that realization that they are being manipulated, and that is causing internal conflict, which we've seen with Reiner, where Reiner isn't able to reconcile the Titan aspect of himself and the human aspect of himself, the soldier aspect and the warrior aspect, because he is actually growing to care for these people that he has probably been raised to hate, and that's making it hard for him to understand. Bertold even says that they had genuinely come to care for people, that they weren't lying, that they had found connection, that in being a soldier, it gave them relief. It implies that wherever they've come from, life isn't as easy, life is harder. Maybe they're not treated as well, maybe they're not given as much opportunity to let loose and to create connection and bonds between each other without being seen as inadequate, because there are cultures where, being emotional or being soft or being tender is seen as weakness. So maybe in their time as soldiers amongst humanity, they were actually able to be more true to themselves than they were in their hometown. And I think that's what Bertold's trying to get to them, is that this isn't something they want to do. This is something they have no choice in doing. And it could be because if they don't do it, there's dire consequences for disobeying. It could be seen as treason. There could be a consequence of being killed, or their families could be in danger. Their families could be threatened if they don't cooperate. We don't know. But it is very evident that they are not the bad guys of the show and that there's a lot more going on beneath the surface, that they are potentially being manipulated or have potentially been raised to hate humanity and potentially coming to understand that what they have learned from their society, from the people around them, isn't necessarily the truth. In the same way that everyone else seems to kind of come to the conclusion that what they know isn't the full truth. And there was that moment where Erwin was like, he had that look on his face and he kind of shrugged it off as, oh, nothing, when Levi kind of questioned him a little bit further. I think something has clicked in Erwin's mind. He's had an aha moment. The Warless know more than they're letting on. Historia knows more than she's letting on. And it's very obvious that only the elite within the walls know the truth of the walls and they know why this is happening, but they're not choosing to share this information, which is incredibly frustrating. There's been such a shift in tone. In season 1, the tone was very much hopeful. We had a lot of comeback moments. We had a lot of, aha, things are going somewhere. Things are progressing. Look, everything's so hopeful. Humanity's had its first win. Humanity is overcoming and is coming back. And then season 2 shifts that tone. It's darker, it's more serious, it's more humanity doesn't really win. There's something at play. Season 2 is almost a reminder of the type of show that we're watching, to not get complacent and to not expect a happy ending every time, to not expect a hopeful outcome every time, because this season has been like gut punch after gut punch after gut punch. There's been so much information thrown at you, and I'm sure once I start watching season 3, there'll be things from season 2 where I go, oh, and it clicks. But for now, I'm just kind of not sure what's happening or what's going on. I've done my best to follow, but I'm kind of at a loss. And again, I'm torn between thinking of this as warring, competing kingdoms or thinking this as a sociological, biochemical experiment. I'm still thinking this is to do with warring factions and that it's Titan shifters versus humans, but again, I guess my main thing is that I still think that they came before and were mistreated and cast out, and a genocide was committed against them, and now they're seeking revenge against humans, and humans are trying to just establish and keep their foothold with where they are. But now I'm starting to think that Grisha and Eren's mother came from this village and that they also have a connection. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say for season 2. What a ride. I'm so excited to watch season 3. I'm hoping I get a few more hints, even just a few more like little bits dropped here and there to kind of help me piece things together a little bit more, because it's really hard to piece it together, I think, off of just season 2 alone, especially season 1 and season 2, without rewatching them both. And I just unfortunately do not have the time to sit and rewatch both of them ahead of filming an outro. So I'm kind of having to go off of like what I've seen and try and remember what I've seen in season 2. Hence why like this outro may not seem as put together as season 1. With this being my first anime, things aren't clicking as quickly as I would like them to. And I think it could be because it's my first anime and maybe there's like themes and symbolism that happens in anime that I am just missing. Probably missing like motifs or like symbolism that people picked up on really quickly watching Attack on Titan, that they were able to predict the story better. I'm sorry if this outro isn't what people are expecting. The show is quite complex and it's very hard to figure everything out without properly sitting and rewatching everything. And so much has happened that my mind is kind of like in a blur. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say for now. And again, I'm hoping season 3 offers a bit more information, even just little bits here and there, little hints here and there that can kind of help me connect things back to series 1 and series 2. I've made a few connections from series 2 back to series 1, but again, it's hard to make connections to series 3 when you haven't watched series 3. I can only kind of make assumptions as to what I think is going to happen, and I kind of have tried my best to make it as legible and understandable as possible. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm going to stop talking because otherwise I'm just going to sit here for like 2 hours trying to like figure this out in my head, and it's not going to happen. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next time, bye!